Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have another 3 stories for you today. You are a new joiner, so shut up and just follow instructions, said my IT GM. Don't waste money on a hire car. And anything is fine? Watch me. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. You are a new joiner, so shut up and just follow instructions, said my IT GM. I am 32, and have my own business as an IT engineer at an SME retail company. The company's IT department was just established around 2 years ago. Previously, HR had been the one managing the whole IT matter. In our IT team, we have 4 people. 1 GM, 1 assistant manager, 1 senior engineer, and myself, an IT engineer. This story involves the IT GM, a senior engineer, and me personally. Since I am new at the company, I was not given proper authority to use any IT system like managing servers or firewalls. My primary role is to assist users with day-to-day PC issues. Managing the server and network falls to our senior engineer, SE. Unfortunately, even though SE is higher ranked than me, his literacy in networking and server administration is very low. Previously, SE worked for the same company, construction, as GM. Previous JD of SE involved mostly laying/pulling fiber and network cable, which is more grunt work than system administration. I otherwise come from an MSP background and have experience in managing servers and networks. During my tenure there, at first, everything was as usual, but one day when I noticed that my SE had done something to our server environment, removing crucial applications for data processing, I tried to let my GM know. But unfortunately, he thinks I am not a team player since I straight away go to him instead of correcting my SE. For reader information, I already tried to remind him of the implications of removing the software, but my SE ignored my warning and continued the removal. Since I am the one that managed to make the server work as usual, I need to get RCA on this issue from our director, my boss's boss. I will explain in detail what happened and how I resolved this issue. Please keep in mind that due to this incident, our server has not been working for more than 3 days. This later made my relationship with SE and GM very bad. Later, after that incident, I was called by my GM and reminded to just follow their instructions and never question them. My probation period is extended for 6 more months due to the fact that I simply remoted into the server and didn't follow their instructions and also did not have teamwork. This is where the interesting part happens. One day, my SE made a big fuck up and caused both of them to be terminated on the spot. What happened is that one day, our company server was infected by ransomware. I had alerted them early since I first detected the abnormalities in our environment, but none of them responded to my messages. Since they also said I couldn't remote the server due to security policy, I just let the thing do its job. Please remember the last time I tried to fix the issue myself because my probation was extended, so this time I didn't do anything at all. Since both of them are not from real IT backgrounds, they are really in a bind to resolve the issue. Then, after 1 week, they tried everything to make the system work. They gave up and said to management that the system couldn't be restored. Actually, the system itself is very easy to install and the DB itself is very straightforward. Since I am from an MSP background, I always thought to make a backup for every system at least once a week. Since I do not have access to the server, but from the client application, we can reach the database and be able to backup it. So, I do weekly backups from my machine without telling anyone from my team. Our company, due to the incident, incurred a high loss of money since the operation couldn't continue. Our director called a meeting between all management and IT. During that time, my GM simply said that the data was lost due to ransomware. All of the management team were furious during that time, but suddenly, my director asked me if I could fix this issue. My GM simply said I am a new guy and do not have the capability of restoring the server. My director asked my GM to shut up and let me talk. I explained to them briefly that I might be able to do a reinstallation of the system but with 1 week of backdated data. This is because I only do the backup on my own initiative every week. At this time, I noticed my general manager's face turning bright red. He asked me why I didn't tell him that I had the data backup. I reminded him that he was the one that told me to not interfere with this issue and reminded him that I needed to extend my probation because I remoted without his approval into the server. My director asked me to restore the server. After 4 hours of configuring the server, I managed to get the server up again and operations managed to run as usual. My manager tried to get me into trouble, but since I simply complied with his instructions and all the communication was done in black and white, which included his instructions to simply ignore this issue and continue my job supporting the user, instead of me getting into trouble, my GM got fired from his position due to his failure to do his due diligence and get proper IT security in place and do not have a backup policy in the company. I am still employed by the company and now hold the position of GM. Our next story. Don't waste money on a hire car. I'm a contractor but work for a government department. Work sometimes requires us to travel, which requires us to draft an itinerary with a travel budget before a senior manager signs off on it. I placed a budget in front of the manager for a 7-day trip. Manager, what's this? You are getting a hire car? We are not paying for a rental car. Me, but. Manager, I'm going to stop you right there. We've been told to cut spending. This means no hire car for you. I'm working on a project worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Me, okay then, no worries boss. The hire car would have been on a corporate rate of $70 p/day x 7 days. Per the department's own rules, I was not allowed to carry confidential documentation on public transport, so I legally had to use taxis. Which is what I did, liberally. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. I was exhausted. Between the airport, my hotel, and the half-dozen or so sites I needed to see, I was exhausted. It ended up costing well over 10x what it would have cost to just give me a hire car. Because this got a lot of comments. Hire a car means rental, in the United Kingdom and Australia. My head maths is wrong, and I was being hyperbolic when I said 10x. The actual cost across 7 days was just over $2,000 in taxi/Uber. And our last story. Anything is fine? Watch me. So, I went out with my friends for dinner today, and there's a free drink refill in the restaurant. When I stood up and tried to go out for a refill, one of my friends handed me his cup and said, "Can you fill my cup as well?" Anything is fine, thanks. If anyone thinks I got him something nasty, then too bad Lamau. I got him an iced Americano. Since it was 7:30 p.m. by then, everyone, including the friend who passed me his cup, had a good hard laugh while he flipped me off with his other hand without the cup of Americano. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.